What if I told you that almost everything you know about boat hours is wrong, and that the common perception around hours isn't just a little bit off, but in many cases completely backwards from reality? So today we're going to fix that. By the end of this video, you're going to know more about boat hours than the vast majority of people shopping for a used boat right now. And that knowledge might end up saving you thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. What's up, guys? This is Mitch from BoardCo. If you're in the market for a used surf boat or wake boat, hours are probably one of the first things that you're going to look at on a boat listing. And that definitely makes sense. Hours feel like an easy way to gauge how used a boat is. The problem is most people's intuition about what those numbers actually mean is way off. Today, we're going to break this all the way down. We're going to cover what counts as low hours, what counts as high hours, how boat hours actually compare to car miles, the biggest misconceptions people have about high hour versus low hour boats, what I would personally do when shopping for a used boat, and what the absolute ideal scenario looks like when you're trying to get the best deal. Let's get into it. First, let's establish a baseline. Because before we can talk about high hours and low hours, you need to actually understand what average hours look like. To start off, the average usage on a surf boat is right around 75 hours a year. In the first couple of years of ownership, that number tends to be a little bit higher, closer to right around 100 hours annually. Then as the boats age, it will gradually drop down to about 50 hours a year. And here's something that surprises a lot of people. That average holds up pretty consistently regardless of where the boat is located. You might assume that people in places like Florida or Texas or Georgia are putting way more hours on their boats than people in colder northern states such as Minnesota, Michigan, Washington, etc. And while boats in warmer climates do get used more during the off-season months, the pattern of use is different. In colder climates, people tend to go hard during the summer, bigger sessions, more frequent outings during the warm season. In warmer climates, use is more spread out and the sessions are generally shorter. But when you add all of it up, it ends up being remarkably similar anywhere you go across the country. So with the average of right around 75 hours a year, let's talk about what high hours and low hours actually mean. To illustrate, let's use a 5-year-old boat as our example. A 5-year-old boat at average use is going to be sitting right around 400 hours. From there, a boat would be considered a high hour boat if it has roughly 50% more than the average, or in this case, right around 600 hours or more. On the other side, a low hour boat would be about 50% fewer hours than the average, meaning that same 5-year-old boat having roughly 200 hours or less for it to be considered a low hour boat. Simple enough, right? Now here's where it gets interesting. The easiest way to wrap your head around boat hours is probably going to be to compare it to miles on a car, because that's something that most people understand intuitively. The standard rule of thumb in the marine industry is just to add a few zeros, or more precisely, to multiply the number by 100, and you'll land in right around the same ballpark of equivalent car miles. So, what does that mean? A boat with 500 hours, think of it essentially like a car with around 50,000 miles. A boat with 1,000 hours, that's your 100,000 mile car. This formula is genuinely useful when you're trying to establish value on a used boat. If a boat has the equivalent of 80,000 car miles on it, you probably shouldn't be paying for it like it is a boat with 20,000 car miles on it. If you find one that's barely been touched, expect to pay accordingly. But, and this is a big but, this comparison has a major flaw. It's accurate for valuation purposes, but it dramatically understates how long a boat can actually last and be reliable. Here's what I mean. If you were to convert boat hours to car miles based on actual longevity and reliability, not just the price, the real exchange rate is closer to 50 hours equaling 1,000 miles. In other words, a boat with 500 hours is more like a vehicle with 25,000 miles from a mechanical standpoint. Think of it this way. A really well-maintained Toyota Corolla can go, let's say, 400,000 miles. That's extreme, but it's possible. Meanwhile, I have personally seen well-maintained wake boats with well over 6,000 hours on them that are still running perfectly fine. These boats are built to last. The perception that they wear out fast is one of the biggest myths in the marine industry. They do wear out, but most of the time, there's not nearly enough hours being put on the boats to actually wear them out. All right, now this next statement is where I'm going to say something that is going to sound very counterintuitive and maybe even a little controversial, so stay with me. In my experience, and I have over 2 decades of selling, testing, trading, and servicing surf and wake boats. A low-hour boat is oftentimes more likely to have issues than a boat that has been used consistently. Now, this isn't always the case, but this pattern is real, and here's why. Wake boats and surf boats use water cooling. The engine pulls lake water up to help cool and lubricate different components. Water is doing a lot of the work in these engines. It's not just the coolant, it's also the lubrication for a lot of the moving parts. When a boat sits for extended periods of time without being used, it will end up drying out. And when it dries out, all of those parts have more friction when they finally start moving again. On top of that, wake boats use high-performance 8-cylinder engines. There's no 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder motors in these things. These are big, powerful motors that produce serious torque and horsepower. Even the more baseline engines are still considered super high-performance engines if you were to put them in a car. And just like with high-performance cars, these motors do not like sitting around. They need to be run, and they need to run regularly. Add to all of this the fact that boats have significantly fewer moving parts than automobiles. There's no shocks, no axles, no brakes, none of the typical wear and tear components that you deal with a car. When you take that out of the equation and properly maintain all of the parts that are there with boats, these engines can run for an incredibly long period of time. Now, let me give you a real world example from my own personal life that I hope really drives this home. Back in 2021, I purchased a 2016 Centurion Carbon Pro. It's a direct drive water ski boat, and it was the very last year that Centurion made it. It is an absolute machine on the water when it comes to water skiing. If you haven't seen any of the other content that we make, I talk a ton about surf boats, but I'm actually a diehard water skier, as well as somebody who loves surfing, wakeboarding, and all of the other water sports. Now, when I bought this boat, it was kind of a unique one because it was actually a water ski club boat, and it had been used a lot. When I bought it, the boat had 965 engine hours on it. Most buyers would see a number like that, and they would run away as fast as they could. For me, with everything I know about boats, I had zero hesitation. It was a boat I was looking for and trying to find, and the fact that it had that many hours on it did not cause me to hesitate at all. And since I have bought it, the only maintenance that I have done is oil changes and impeller changes. That's it. Since that time, I have put another 400 hours on that boat, and it now has over 1,300 hours and runs perfectly fine. Not only that, because this boat gets used frequently during the summer, the impeller actually lasts longer than on standard boats or on average. The reason why is because it, along with other different parts, stay lubricated because it is running regularly. Everything is moving, nothing sits and dries out or settles over time. I bought a near 1,000-hour boat, and I'd be happy to do it again. That's how confident I am in what I'm telling you right now. Will something eventually need to be repaired on this boat? Of course, but that's true of any mechanical equipment once you put some use into it. But if I had let that same boat sit for 2 years without being touched, I'd be significantly more worried about what might actually go wrong with it when I start firing it up and using it a lot more. All of this is important, but none of it means you should just go out there looking for the highest hour boat you can find and assume it's going to be a great deal. There are some definite nuances here. First one is not all hours are created equal. How a boat is used matters just as much as how much it's been used. A boat that's been driven hard by a professional wakeboarder with extra weight loaded in it at all times, running at max RPMs constantly, has been stressed significantly more than one that's been primarily used just for surfing with stock ballast. If a boat's been well cared for and used responsibly, hours really shouldn't scare you. But if it's been run hard and put away wet, literally and figuratively, the hours tell a different story. Here's the reality you need to factor in. Regardless of how reliable a higher hour boat actually is, the perception of hours has a very real impact on resale value. Selling a boat with over 1,000 hours can be tough. The market discounts them heavily, not because they stop working or they have issues, but because most buyers don't know what you now know after watching this. So even if the boat is mechanically sound, you need to factor that depreciation into what you are going to pay for a boat today. So what's the best plan? I'll just tell you what I personally would do and what I recommend to customers as well as family and friends. Number one, make sure the price that you are paying lines up with the hours. If a boat has high hours, you should be getting a meaningful discount. If it has low hours, expect to pay more. but I personally wouldn't pay a premium just because a boat is a low hour boat. I'm not saying low hour boats are bad. I'm saying they aren't automatically more reliable. So paying extra just because the hours are low doesn't really make financial sense. The only main advantage to a lower hour boat is it will have higher resale in the future because of the lower hours. Number 2, do not be afraid of hours. A well-maintained high-hour boat can be an incredible value. Just make sure the price reflects it, because when you go to sell it, the market will discount it and you don't want to be the one absorbing that hit. Now, if you want to know what the absolute best scenario looks like, here's the secret. Find a boat that's been well-maintained, has more hours than average, and that you can get a solid deal on. Then use it. Add your hours. After a few years, those hours will typically blend closer to average if you use the boat at average use. And when you go to sell it, you're not going to take a massive hit on value. You got a good deal going in, you enjoyed the boat, and you come out the other side in a great spot. Here's probably my single biggest takeaway from everything we talked about. Unlike cars, boats almost never reach a point where the hours alone make them worthless. Think about it like this. It's totally normal for a 15-year-old car with a ton of miles to be worth $1,000 or less. That just doesn't really happen with boats, at least not because of hours. We are still seeing direct drive ski boats from the late 80s and early 90s selling for around $10,000, which, by the way, is roughly what those same boats cost when they were brand new. And it's not like they're selling for that because of nostalgia. They're selling for that because they still run, they still work, and people still want them. If you're looking at a fuel-injected boat that's built around 2001 or later that has been properly maintained, those boats will run for a very, very long time. Once they get past about 15 years old, what matters most is the condition of the interior and all of the cosmetics and other items on the boat, not necessarily dealing with the engine or the hours that are put on the motor itself, which is where, like I said, not all hours are created equal. I've seen boats with 2,000 hours that look like they just rolled out of a showroom, and I've seen boats with 200 hours that look like they've been through a war. So to sum it all up, understand what average hours look like for a given age of a boat. Use the car mile comparison to establish what you should pay. Don't be fooled into thinking that low hours automatically means a better or reliable boat, and don't run away from high hours if the price is right and the maintenance history checks out. If you apply what we've covered today, you're already ahead of probably 90% of people that are shopping for a used boat right now. And you might just walk away with a killer deal that most people would have passed right by. Now, if you got value out of this video, definitely hit a like, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We do this kind of thing all the time. Deep dives on everything from buying used boats to engine performance at altitude to the best surf waves on the market. We got you covered. If you have any questions, want to look at any boats, go check things out on BoardCo.com and let us know how we can help. We're always willing to help you stay out on the water and have a great time. Thanks a lot, guys. Once again, this is Mitch from BoardCo, and we'll see you later.